good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As I fumble
How,
through our screen and just prove to everybody that we're even having more frickin' difficulties than we need to be right now. There we go. I think I got it.
it's been a tech troubleshooting morning, Andrew.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your patience today.
yeah, no worries. I'm sure some of it was my fault. I'm not good with the tech aspect of things.
Well, I was gonna
But
just
yeah,
say
we gotta
fuck
work.
Tuesday, but it's a lot easier just to say then fuck you, Andrew. Fuck you and your tech.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah,
How have you been? It's been a minute since we've touched base.
yeah.
How is it going on your end?
Not too bad. Like I don't know, kind of crazy. Adjusting to everything. I've moved uh, twice in the past couple months since things
Jesus.
started. Like I was living in Stratford, and then when this all came down, I had to get out of my apartment there and come and house sit my grandparents' place. They were stuck in Wales for the pandemic, so I stayed to kind of house at their place, and they just came back. They flew back on one of the last flights, one of the last social distancing flights from the UK
Wow.
yesterday.
Oh, wonderful.
So they're back safe and sound, but they got a quarantine for 2 weeks. So now I moved everything from there back to my parents' place right now. So, life's been a bit hectic as far as personal stuff goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us what you were like. Let's fill in everybody just a little bit. Andrew, what were you doing in Stratford?
I've been working at the Stratford Festival as an actor for the past 2 years, and this past spring I was about to start my third season there. So that's normally what I do in the summers, and then in the winters I come back because I'm from this area, from Leamington, and I'm a part of the Music Windsor scene too. So normally during the winters. I play in bands and play in music, so kind of both industries that I'm normally a part of have been shut down.
How
This
how
this
did this
pandemic.
how did this affect kind of the morale like around Stratford? Was it like a pretty heavy hit? I mean, it's obviously a town that's based on performance and theater. So, like, were there
Yeah,
some of your friends kind of give us a little bit of what that looked like?
well, I think it was kind of a bit unreal because the whole festival, like all the actors, the crew, the designers, like everyone, we were kind of in full swing to start one of the biggest seasons ever. I think we're about to do like 15 shows in total, and then just the news started coming in that maybe this season might be canceled. Okay, now we have to start social distancing in the rehearsal hall and hand sanitizer and nobody touching their face. And I think everyone kind of knew that this was coming, but we didn't want to admit it because when you work on any artistic project, you you hope the show always goes on. The show must go on. You
Yeah.
overcome any obstacle that comes your way, but with this, it just wasn't the case. And so, for me anyway, like it was a lot of it just kind of stopped, and then there were kind of no goodbyes or anything. So I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's led to people feeling even more isolated and feeling kind of under pressure about wanting to do something. And I think some good things have come of that. I mean, there have been a lot of kind of reforms being talked about at the theater about casting people of color and people of color's just how they're treated in the industry. So there's been a lot of talk and a lot of voices being heard that haven't been heard in a while. And I think that's come out of this time. Okay, we paused just doing the art. Now let's take a step back and kind of talk about how we've been doing it and how we've been treating people. So some good things have come of it, but I'd imagine people generally feel isolated. I mean, I know I do. Yeah.
I'm waiting for justice on this one. I don't know.
I don't know. Cool. Thanks. Sweet. Thanks for the setup.
All right.
Yeah.
That I get it. I hear you. I've also been on my own over the course of pandemic. Have found much solace in sort of technology, and I'm wondering sort of how we opened today with your comment about tech not really being your thing, but I'm wondering how you sort of like, have you been using your tech to keep in touch? Like, are you sort of trying to build that better relationship with it?
Yeah, but it's not any new tech that's come out of this. Zoom really exploded with this pandemic. I was working with Tall Tale Theater Company in Windsor. Eric Branjett, Mitchell Branjett, to name a few. We produced and wrote a podcast for a radio play for their podcast, Night Terrors.
Cool.
And we did the whole thing on Zoom. We recorded all the parts with different actors who were in different places, and I directed it over Zoom. So that's been a cool way to connect. But then there's the old tried and true, me and Derek Impence kind of writing, producing team. When I come up with something, I send him the logic files over the email, and he'll record something and send it back, or mix it and send it back, and that's kind of the way things are done now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've talked to a lot of creators. We've been very fortunate to talk to a lot of creators who are performers in their old lives, I guess is how I'm going to word that.
Yeah.
And have now had to sort of find other ways to do. We talked to some drag artists last week, and they talked about digital drag, which was a new concept for us, because as much as I've seen it, it's new to interact with. How are you finding? Are you enjoying sort of the digital performance? How are you feeling about that?
I haven't done any performing yet. I've seen it, with the open mic stuff that's going on, with Andrew McLeod, and I've watched some of Dave Zelko's sets, which I love, and I make sure to watch Max Marshall too whenever he does a video. I always love watching Max, but I haven't performed over the platform yet. But this may be kind of a a cheap way to get out of answering the question, but it's all we got right now. So yeah, you kind of have to you have to enjoy whatever you get.
No, that's totally valid. A great perspective.
Yeah.
Well, putting constraints on creativity, Justice and I have had those conversations with people as well. And sometimes it's just once you limit and you take away a whole bunch of options, when you're only left with kind of a few, there's some great creativity that can come from not having all those options, or being limited, or being constrained. So kind of interested to see, just really, again, what continues to happen, and how things kind of continue to shift. I know that the work with Derek that you guys have been doing, Justice and I, have on our table somewhere. Let's pretend this is a hard drive. There's your video sitting there. It's all the raw information. But we have a video that we had started on with Vic. We recorded in January. So just kind of a little bit getting back to that, because I think that other than we had some client work, this was the last full creative thing that we did, as a group of people getting together without a whole lot of funding behind us, to make something happen. And, I miss the hugs. I miss the hugs of that room, even though you guys were half naked during that video. I still missed a little bit of the hugs. I miss seeing you guys. So the music continues on. Videos are a little bit harder. We've been essentially kind of running into that situation that, it's not quite a logic file. It's not small and just a couple megs when you toss something back and forth and have somebody work on it. Justice and I are going through, literally,
Yeah, no, it's a huge endeavor.
hours
know.
worth of video and then processing it
Yeah.
and getting it out. I think we've sent you a sample of about 35 seconds, and even to get you that was like a pain in the butt.
Hours, days, if not,
Oh.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
the limits of what we have too. We're trying to all work with it.
Yeah. Totally. And my philosophy in all of this is, just to kind of take it as it comes. If things are slow, they're slow. If there's a lack of motivation, like I'm talking for me specifically, I just kind of have to embrace that. Like you can't fight against like just a feeling that's in here that's influenced by just the anxiety of the world. I know for me as a writer, most of the work I do is like basically writing music, coming up with ideas and all of that. And every year I have about 2 dry spells where I just don't touch my instruments, maybe for about a month or so. And I suppose it's a good thing that that's kind of coinciding with part of this pandemic. But I've just learned to kind of accept that if there's no inspiration, there's no inspiration. Like you can't force
squeeze blood
anything out. Yeah, exactly. Like all this stuff is meant to be done out of joy and comes out of joy. And when joy is in short supply, it's more of a time to just kind of listen and learn, listen to music, watch other artists that maybe are having epiphanies and are just producing, and just looking at that and appreciating that and always remembering, it'll come back one day for me. So it always does.
So you've been feeling a little bit less creative in this?
Yeah, especially in the past, probably the past 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah.
I think I've played an instrument maybe twice. I think I picked up my acoustic guitar once, literally for 30 seconds, put it back down. But before that, yeah, I was doing a lot. Starting to kind of hone my chops on drums, and that way it'd be easier for me to kind of convey ideas to Derek.
Mm-hmm.
And writing and recording. I was doing quite a bit, but then it just all stopped. And I can't force myself.
Yeah. I've been having a few conversations with, specifically with photographers. It's called Shifting Perspectives, and a couple of them now we've had these talks. Well, I guess they've been the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago now, but I think when a lot of this started happening, and I'm going to share a little bit of my experience, and probably some of this is echoed by them as well. At the beginning, there was this real big push to try and do something creative and try and save yourself creatively, and see what you could do and what you could muster up. And I was doing photographs of the corners of my house, like literally, or like using a lens and taking a picture through a crystal ball that we had here, and trying to think about different ways of seeing things and trying to create and trying to make those things that hopefully put some people in a good mood sometimes. And I know that we hit a little bit of a lull when I think I had to consider, and there are a few other people had to consider, it's like, is it time for me to even be creating right now? And I think kind of what you said is like shutting up, listening and learning and unlearning and relearning. It's sometimes a hard thing, and some people creatively really kind of would feed on that. I was running through my Facebook feed, it was this morning, and somebody says, what does inspiration look like to you? And to me, it looks like a lot less sleep, usually. Like my brain starts going and I'm completely excited, and then I started thinking about that. And last night I was literally woke up in like complete sweats. I probably had like some crazy panic attack in my dream. Taryn turns to me and she's like, yeah, you were being loud, what's the matter? And I'm like, I have no idea. So I kind of take, that a little bit hand in hand. When I'm not sleeping well and I can't have just my regular nights, I'm not really feeling creative. And for the last couple of weeks, I don't know a lot of people have been talking about sleep and like that kind of COVID nightmare and getting locked into a loop and a spiral, and I've been noticing things like that. I haven't been able to pick up my camera. I mean, I really haven't. Justice and I have talked about a lot of the productions that we have coming up, but I haven't picked up the camera. I don't know what to point my camera at right now. I don't know, and maybe that's it. You don't kind of know what to write about. Sometimes creativity is a binge and purge, and that binging comes with I guess being tired and being mentally exhausted, and sometimes some other areas of trying to take in what's going on before we throw it all out.
And the other thing too, I think, is like creativity, creating something is normally it's a response to an experience. Something happens, and whether you consciously acknowledge it or it's a subconscious thing that's affected you, eventually it comes out for creative people as art. But something I've realized is this pandemic isn't over. The experience isn't over yet. So I was just thinking of this now, like people writing about this experience and publishing work about it now. It's almost like that'd be like writing a review of the first page of a novel. It's just what would the point be? So I think that's probably, for me anyway, why there's a lull in creativity. Is I'm just, in the back of my mind, there's this anxiety of this isn't over. Like so much could still happen. It's really a waiting game to kind of see, okay, what is this experience going to be like? What is it going to yield? And there's, you look at politics in the world too. It's the same thing. It's like we've opened up this kind of new chapter, but to write about the chapter now, well, we just don't know where it's going to go yet. So how can anyone have an honest response about it yet? So I think that's a confinement of the time.
Absolutely. And I think, honestly, that's sort of a beautiful sentiment to lead us into. The way that we kind of like to end off these shows is that we really like to talk to our guests about the things that are keeping you optimistic, because things are tough right now. Kind of as we discussed, it's hard times all over. So, Andrew, like for you personally, what's keeping you going? What's that bright spot in the future that's pulling you forward?
Funnily enough, the past.
Yeah.
What I know I've experienced with all of the people I've been fortunate enough to work with. Like I'm so I'm so grateful for all of them. So that gives me hope that, if everyone can be safe and take care of themselves and make it through this, then we'll all still be here at the other end, and we'll be able to come together like we never have before. Because what do they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. That'll be the story artistically. So whether it's acting in theater or writing podcasts or making videos or making music or playing live. God, I miss that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just this time that we spend apart, I think it'll make it so much better when we all get back together. So that keeps me optimistic.
Just a question. You said you're taking care of your grandparents, yes?
I was taking care of their house. They just came back yesterday, so I'm sticking around in Leamington for a while to make sure that they have what they need. Obviously, keeping my distance because they were on a plane, and just to keep things safe. But yeah, I'm gonna be kind of looking over that.
Have you sounded off with them a little bit about this? Like I've chatted with my grandmother about it, and it's kind of interesting to get a a woman that's 95, 96 years old and her opinion on what's going on, and you know how quote unquote these times are tough, but they've gone through tougher. You know, at least we don't have to hide out in bomb shelters, and there aren't like air raid sirens going on. And I'm like, but Grandma, it is so damn close. Like, have you not seen movies like this?
My grandparents experienced that in Cardiff. You know, they were small children during the Second World War when, you know, Cardiff was being bombed. And so we haven't spoken directly about the pandemic, but I think they've got this wisdom that comes with age of just keep your nose down, enjoy the small things in life, and just keep plugging along. And that's how you get through. That's how you eat an elephant, is one bite at a time. You know, just keep going. And that seems to be the energy that they radiate. So I can appreciate that and be inspired awesome. By that.
That's how you eat an elephant.
Yeah.
Like I think that's pretty awesome. We got Jackie McCreary, one of our Ottawa Street famous peeps here, that just said this is wise advice, and I really needed to hear this. Thank you. You know, we do get a few people in our live streams. I know that early in the morning doing a Hypnic Jerk show, which is exactly what it is. Your body is falling asleep and waking up. The Hypnic Jerks. We do this nice and early, and we know that most of the people that we usually hang out with aren't up and watching our live stream, but they trickle in through the day. The day. So, if anyone does have any questions for Andrew, pop them up into this feed. You'll be obviously tagged in them and you'll be able to see it. It's been great talking.
Very refreshing. Your perspective is valuable, Andrew. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. It's great to have you guys as hosts. It always is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's great to see you.
We're going to do this backwards because we had tech issues at the beginning, but I definitely have this queued up here. So I am going to just go ahead and play the video that was supposed to be our intro video. And this is a video back from, 4 or 5 years ago. The Windsor Independent, nod to those guys and Dean and what they did around the city. But this is Nathan McNevin and the Silence Factory. Thank you very much for joining us, and for everybody that stuck around during our technical issues. Thanks a lot, and we will be back tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be back tomorrow.
All right, guys, take care.
Cheers.
I coughed into the microphone. Bad person. All right, one more time. Take 3. Hello, we are Nathan McNevin and the Silence Factory. The song that we shall be performing for you is entitled Collection of Thoughts, off the album Collection of Thoughts. Take 4.
Searching for meaning is hard when you're blind. People, they tell me I have such a beautiful smile, A child's colors, they burn with rocket fuel, gone in an instant. We're so goddamn beautiful in a blink of an eye. He's crying for you, and all I can think is it was over forever until floods the young. I'm so goddamn sick. I want more happiness. I'm so bored, and I got no friends. No, I don't. well, all it is a coping mechanism. Here we go. Not saying I'm perfect, the opposite's true. God is the devil inside of me, and the devil's God is all of you. A child's colors, they burn with rocket fuel, gone in an instant. We're so goddamn beautiful. In a blink of an eye, he's crying fool. It was over for him again. If you was the clown, I'm so goddamn sick, and I want more than my kids, and I'm so bored, and I got no friends. I don't know what to do, what to do, what to do, what to do, and I don't know what to do, what to do, what to do, what to do, and I don't know what to do, what to do, what to do, what to do, and I I'm thinking. It was over for him again. And if love's the cure, I'm so